lot lately. There are times I did not want to be touched. I have to relearn that I am not fragile. I am capable. I am wholesome, not just livid and weak. I want to say this. All the crying, the hurting you have imposed on me, I can take it. But when I see my younger sister hurting, when she is unable to keep up in school, when she is deprived of joy, when she is not sleeping, when she is crying so hard on the phone she is barely breathing, telling me over and over she is sorry for leaving me alone that night, sorry, sorry, sorry. When she feels more guilt than you, then I do not forgive you. That night I called her to try and find her, but you found me first. Your attorney's closing statement began, quote, "My sister said she was fine, and who knows her better than her sister," end quote. You tried to use my own sister against me. Your points of attack were so weak, so low, it was almost embarrassing. You do not touch her. If you think I was spared, came out unscathed, that I, today, will ride off into the sunset while you suffer the greatest blow, you are mistaken. Nobody wins. We have all been devastated. We have all been trying to find some meaning in all this suffering. You should never have done this to me. Secondly, you should never have made me fight so long to tell you. You should never have done this to me. But here we are. The damage is done. No one can undo it. And now we both have a choice. We can let this destroy us. I can remain angry and hurt, and you can be in denial. Or we can face it head on. I can accept the pain, you accept the punishment, and we move on. Your life is not over. You have decades of years ahead to rewrite your story. The world is huge. It is so much bigger than Palo Alto and Stanford. And you will make a space for yourself in it, where you can be useful and happy. Right now your name is tainted. So I challenge you to make a new name for yourself, to do something good for the world. It blows everyone away. You have a brain, a voice, and a heart. Use them wisely. You possess immense love from your family. That alone can pull you out of anything. Mine has held me through all of this, has held me up. Yours will hold you, and you will go on. I believe that one day you will understand all of this better. I hope you will become a better, more honest person who can properly use this story to prevent another story like this from ever happening again. I fully support your journey to healing, to rebuilding your life, because that is the only way you'll begin to help others. Now, to address the sentencing. When I read the probation officer's report, I was in disbelief, consumed by anger, which eventually quietened down to profound sadness. My statements have been slimmed down to distortion and taken out of context. I fought hard during this trial and will not have the outcome minimized by a probation officer who attempted to evaluate my current state and my wishes in a 15-minute conversation, the majority of which was spent answering questions I had about the legal system. The context is so important. The context is also important. Brock has yet to issue a statement, and I have not read his remarks. My life has been on hold for over a year of anguish, anger, and uncertainty, until a jury of my peers rendered a judgment that validated the injustices I had endured. Had Brock admitted the guilt and remorse and offered to settle early on, I would have considered a lighter sentence, respecting his honesty, grateful to move our lives forward, Instead, he took the risk of going to trial, added insult to injury, and forced me to relive the hurt as details about my personal life and sexual assault were brutally dissected before the public. He pushed me and my family through a year of inexplicable, unnecessary suffering, should face the consequences of challenging his crime, of putting my pain into question, of making us wait so long for justice. I told the probation officer, I do not want Brock to rot away in prison. I did not say he does not deserve to be behind bars. The probation officer recommendation of a year or less in county jail is a soft time out, mockery of the seriousness of his assaults and of the consequences of the pain I have been forced to endure. I also told the probation officer that what I truly wanted was Brock to get it, to understand and admit his wrongdoing. Unfortunately, after reading the defendant's statements, I am severely disappointed and feel that he has failed to exhibit sincere remorse or responsibility for his conduct. I fully respected his right to a trial, but even after 12 jurors unanimously convicted him guilty of 3 felonies, all he has admitted to doing is ingesting alcohol. Someone who cannot take full accountability for his actions does not deserve a mitigating sentence. It is deeply offensive that he would try and dilute rape with a suggestion of promiscuity. By definition, rape is the absence of promiscuity. Rape is the absence of consent, and it perturbs me deeply that he can't even see that distinction. The probation officer factored in that the defendant is useful and has no prior convictions. In my opinion, he is old enough to know what he did was wrong. When you are 18 in this country, you can go to war. When you are 19, you're old enough to pay the consequences for attempting to rape someone. He is young, but he is old enough to know better. As this is the first offense, I can see where leniency would beckon. On the other hand, as a society, we cannot forgive everyone's first sexual assault or digital rape. It doesn't make sense. The seriousness of rape has to be communicated clearly. We should not create a culture that suggests we learn that rape is wrong through trial and error. The consequences of sexual assault needs to be severe enough that people feel enough fear to exercise good judgment, even if they are drunk, severe enough to be preventive. The fact that Brock was a star athlete at a prestigious university should not be seen as an entitlement to leniency, but as an opportunity to send a strong cultural message that sexual assault is against the law regardless of social class. The probation officer weighed the fact that he had surrendered a hard-earned swimming scholarship. If I had been sexually assaulted by the unathletic guy from a community college, what would his sentence be? If a first-time offender from an underprivileged background was accused of 3 felonies and displayed no accountability for his actions other than drinking, what would his sentence be? How fast he swims does not lessen the impact of what happened to me. The probation officer has stated this case, when compared to other crimes of similar nature, may be considered less serious due to the defendant's level of intoxication. It felt serious. That's all I'm going to say. He is a lifetime sex registrant. That doesn't expire. Just like what he did to me does not expire. Does not just go away after a set number of years. It stays with me. It's part of my identity. It has forever changed the way I carry myself, the way I live the rest of my life. A year has gone by, and he has had a lot of time on his hands. Has he been seeing a psychologist? What has he done in this past year to show that he's been progressing? If he says he wants to implement programs, What has he done to show it? Throughout incarceration, I hope he's provided with appropriate therapy and resources to rebuild his life. I request that he educates himself about the issue of campus sexual assault. I hope he accepts proper punishment and pushes himself to re-enter society as a better person. To conclude, I want to say thank you to everyone from the intern who made me oatmeal when I woke up at the hospital that morning, to the deputy who waited beside me, to the nurses who calmed me, to the detective who listened to me and never judged me, to my advocates who stood unwaveringly beside me, to my therapist who taught me to find courage and vulnerability, to my boss for being kind and understanding, to my incredible parents who teach me how to turn pain into strength, to my friends who remind me how to be happy, to my boyfriend who is patient and loving, to my sister who is the unconquerable other part of my heart, the other half of my heart, to Aliyah, my idol, who fought tirelessly and never doubted me. Thank you to everyone involved in the trial for their time and attention. Thank you to the girls across the nation that wrote cards to my DA to give to me, so many strangers who cared for me. Most importantly, thank you to the two men who saved me, who I have yet to meet. I sleep with two bicycles that I drew, taped above my bed, to remind me that there are heroes in this story, that we are looking out for one another. To have known all these people, to have felt their protection and love, is something I will never forget. And finally, to girls everywhere, I am with you. On nights when you feel alone, I am with you. When people doubt you or dismiss you, I am with you. I fought every day for you. So never stop fighting. I believe you. Lighthouses don't go running all over an island looking for boats to save. They just stand there, shining. Although I can't save every boat, I hope that by speaking today, you absorbed a small amount of light, a small knowing that you can't be silenced, a small satisfaction that justice was served, a small assurance that we are getting somewhere, and a big, big knowing that you are important. Unquestionably, you are untouchable. You are beautiful. You are to be valued, respected, undeniably, every minute of every day. You are powerful. And nobody can take that away from you. To girls everywhere, I am with you. I thank you. This has been a reading of the letter from the victim of the Stanford rapist known as Brock. The full and complete letter, you can find it on the internet. It's 12 pages long. Thank you for speaking up.